This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Monday, June 27th, 2016. The title of this rant will be, Hillary has a double-digit lead. Will this become a rout? So yesterday, the findings of a recent poll by the Washington Post, ABC News, had Hillary in a very commanding lead of 51 to 39%. I believe there was another NBC poll recently that had Hillary up by 5 points, 46 to 41%. And the trend lines are very, very clear. Hillary is going up and Trump is going down. And what they have found in the one poll for ABC News and the Washington Post is that there are broad objectives against Trump in terms of him being completely unqualified to be president, and with a fair amount of Republicans and independent-leaning Republicans saying that they are very upset, disturbed about his comments, his position regarding women, regarding minorities, especially Muslims, and those, so let's just use the term south of the border, are Latino and South American brothers and sisters. They are extremely upset at the way he handled his lawsuit that's against him, that is being monitored by a judge who has, let's just say, Mexican heritage. And one other thing that hasn't come up, which might come up in the convention, is will his supporters react sometimes, possibly, to violence? Now, also in the same poll, they did indicate that, hey, Hillary's got some problems too. She still has her email thing. But again, her email was never, ever hacked. And there were emails that were subsequently determined to be top secret, but not at the time that she either received them or sent them. But Republicans will try very hard to nail more of that on that. Another thing about that poll, very important, is that you had Obama with 56% popularity rating right now. Puts him way ahead of the two Bushes at the waning time of their presidency. Bush 1, who was up for re-election, had gone way down. He went way up after the first Iraq War and then went way down after that because we were heading into a recession, a slowdown. And of course, Bush 2, really stunk up the joint at the end of his time. Also, there is now a proof that the vast majority of Bernie supporters are heading to Hillary. I believe it was 81% of Bernie supporters are now backing Hillary. I mean, all thumbs up in terms of positives for Hillary all the way around. Now, the Republican convention is coming up 3 weeks starting from today. They don't have a VP. Maybe it'll be Christie. I'm only using Christie as an example because he seems to be the only surrogate, although we've never seen him in action in the last 4 or 5 weeks, behind Trump. And of course, they need the unifier. Now, the one thing that Christie would be, you'd have two unifiers in the sense that they're both fat Republican operatives from the Northeast, who give their unqualified bellicose statements out there. Don't see that working in the heartland very well, but we don't know who it's going to be. Also, who are the speakers going to be? Who is going to be there to help unify the party behind Trump? I mean, this could be a very, very disruptive convention, as we are seeing someone from Virginia, a delegate, wants to sue to get out of having to vote for Trump, going to court for that. We just saw this weekend Hank Paulson, who was the Treasury Secretary under Bush. Remember that little to-do that happened at the end of the Bush administration where Hank Paulson came out and said that the markets have gone so far down ever since Bear Stearns went down in June, and then all of a sudden Lehman Brothers went down in October, that the federal government had to get involved and they had to rescue everything. Of course, he was only going to do it for his buddies first. But then Bush, the president, meekly came on and said, he believes in free markets, but in this case, his people have told him he's going to have to make an exception. That Hank Paulson has said he's going to vote for Hillary. George Will has denounced his involvement in the Republican Party, has dropped out of the Republican Party. And then I believe that there was someone else, Brent Scowcroft, who also was an early speaker against the Second Iraq War that Junior Bush wanted to get into. He put the voice of reason out there pretty strong, and they poo-pooed him all the way wrong. Now, Ben Scowcroft isn't a big thing, but the big point about it that is that even though you want to call them neocons, even though they're all Republicans, they all know that Trump would be a disaster in terms of foreign affairs all the way around, and that they're willing to stick their neck out now to go against him. So there will others that are going to be against Trump. And how much of that will take a toll all the way around? Will Trump get a positive bump out of this convention, as most people do? This could be a convention if it's disruptive, if he doesn't have enough speakers, if there's no unifying behind the candidate, if the Republican, vice president stinks. Trump could actually get a negative about this. Now, you take that, and then you take, let's say it's about 5 weeks or so from, or maybe even less than that, from the Democratic convention, and you're going to see a love fest similar to those love-ins of the hippie time of the 60s. A big love-in for Hillary. I mean, they're going to have everybody and their brother's going to want to speak on behalf of Hillary. And then you're going to have her surrogates who are going to be out there fighting day in and day out from now until the election day to make sure that Hillary is going to be the nominee. And they will be rampaging through those battleground states in terms of their unqualified support of Hillary all the way through. So you're going to have Obama going to be a very effective speaker. Joe Biden, a very effective one. Elizabeth Warren is just going to be barnstorming all over the place. Hopefully Bernie will be a part of all of that. I think that he would. And then if you say that Bernie would be number 4, then number 5 would be the big dog, Bill Clinton. Now, it's really saying something that in the Democratic Party, for those who are the big top surrogates for the next Democratic nominee, Hillary, that Bill Clinton would be number 5 on all of that. And then, of course, you have all of the Democratic governors, Tim Kaine, possible vice presidential candidate in the state of Virginia. Remember, there's 2 Democratic senators in Virginia, and the governor of Virginia is Democrat. That's been a swing state in the past. It's pretty purple right now. Can they pull it through for Hillary? And remember, the Democrats have a very, very substantial lead in many states already, that she only needs to have a number of states to go to her favor, that she will get that 270 electoral votes. And we'll see as time goes on if it's really going to be in that neighborhood of not just 270 or 279 or 285, that it might be 345, 358. Also one other thing, could Chelsea be helping? Could she help with the millennials? And one other last thing about all this is, the one thing I didn't talk about is that Trump is not faring well with people of color and for women, even for Republican women. So it's not too far to say that this could actually be a big rout for Hillary. And if you pay close attention to what's going on behind the scenes, and don't go into what the mainstream media is saying in reference to that, it's still within the margin of error, it's close to the margin of error. Well, it's 6 points. Well, the margin of error is 2 points. That's a pretty commanding lead. Things could, they might act like it's being close, but this could really end up being a rout for Hillary.